Even in death, they're divided by religious ideologies. What do I mean by that? Where I live, there's a few cemeteries, a few exits down the road. And on one side of the road, it's the Catholic cemetery. The other side of the road is the Jewish cemetery. Even in death, they're divided by ignorance and blindness and fear and hatred. It's just absurd. Do you honestly think there's a Catholic heaven and a Jewish heaven separate and a Muslim heaven and every other heaven that suits the needs of that religious organization? Do you honestly think that there's a heaven just for black people and a heaven just for white people and a heaven just for Asian people and a heaven just for Middle Eastern people? And all? I mean, come on, it's just insane. Everything is energy. Everything is one source of all things. Source is all things. Your source, I'm source, not just human beings. So to infer that there's a Jewish heaven that only Jewish people go to, and there's a Catholic heaven that only Catholic people get into, and there's a Muslim heaven that only Muslims get into when they read the Quran, and the Jewish people read the Torah, and Catholics read the Bible, and whatever other kind of religious ideologies are floating around out there, and all of the Scientology and all that garbage, and all of that cult nonsense that they feed people. That it's a doctrine that they force you to assimilate to because it's a cult that you're being absorbed into, and it's a same pyramid scheme. There's always someone at the top manipulating everybody at the bottom, and usually these types of organizations are men that are running the whole show, manipulating everybody, and they're doing horrible things to the women and the children. I don't want to, you know what I'm talking about, but it's the same paradigm. Religion is the cult. It is the nucleus of the cult, the system. So there's no way around it. So to infer that there is a Catholic heaven and a Jewish heaven and a Muslim heaven is insane. Because as I've said from the intro of this video, even in death they're divided because religion gets them to do it to themselves. Because they've carried this ignorance their whole life and this blindness. And what would make you think that they're going to change when they die? Meaning when they leave the body. When the soul no longer occupies the vessel. Nothing. That's why near-death experiences are exactly what you make them to be. There isn't a one way and one type of near-death experience that everybody sees. I was floating out of my body, then I saw this white light and I headed through the tunnel and I saw these beings. No, it's not going to happen like that. Every journey is different. What would make you think that your journey on earth is going to be different than your journey when you pass? It's not going to be. How you perceive this life is how you make it out to be. So that continues, whether you're in the body or out of the body. And it is your perception on things that generates the experiences that become that reality that you embrace as the only thing that there is, the only life you know. And unfortunately, these people are indoctrinated at a very early age. That's why religion gets them as young as possible, for two reasons. The other one I'm not going to get into. I think you know it already. But the other one is just division. And you look at all of these these TV evangelists. Go on YouTube and just look at them. There's a few out there. Look at the size of the capacity of the audience that they're catering to. That's bigger than a rock concert. Look at the amphitheater or the building that they're in. They own those things. All that stuff was built just for them. They own that stuff. That didn't come from Swiss cheese and ice cream. That came from those followers donating the money to these people into the hundreds of millions. And then they just pontificate all of these lies to these people. And look at the audience members. They're just like zombies, man. They can't think for themselves. So they're thinking, the Jewish religion is wrong when it says this, but us Catholics, we're right. And the Muslims are devils because they have dark skin and live in the desert. But yet in their Bible it says hair of wool, skin of bronze, aka Jesus Christ. It's just it's a cyclonic madness. Just like blah, 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 blah. It's nonsense. The whole Bible is a lie. The Quran is a lie. The Torah is. It's all written by the same clique. So even in death, they're divided. Just check it out for yourself. You'll never see a Jewish cemetery incorporated in a Catholic cemetery. And if they occupy the same land, there always is a division, like a cordoned off area. That this is just for Jewish people. We don't want to be mixing with the dead Catholics or the dead Protestants or anything else that's beneath us. Because they told themselves that we are God's chosen, and they honestly think that they're better than everybody. But, that's their trip. And once they all pass, they'll find out the hard way that what they thought in life was a lie. just like everything they read from those scripts and those texts, those ancient transcripts that they're all getting this information from. Just because it's old, it doesn't mean that it's right. War isn't right. Hatred, division, chaos, that's been around since day one when human beings came onto the scene. Religion is no different. Religion has no difference. It's no different. Religion is the world's oldest propaganda. So just so you know, there's no such thing as a Catholic heaven or a Jewish heaven or a Muslim heaven or a Protestant heaven or whatever religion you're a part of, or hopefully you're not. Hopefully you have the capacity to think for yourself and realize that this is all propaganda manipulation. Like I said before, if religion were the word of God, religion would be as old as God, would it not? And the world's oldest religion is Hinduism, which is an organized religion. And I'm quite sure there's some, traditions and belief systems that probably predate that by tens of thousands of years, but that's just like something that's, for like a local indigenous tribe that they probably followed. But more often than not, that indigenous tribe probably formulated their own relationship with spirituality, and it was misconstrued as religion. Guarantee you that. A lot of South American tribes do just that. They're harmonized with the frequency of the earth. They don't live in conflict with her. And that's their spirituality. They don't have to meditate and have books and seminars and DVDs and everything that people in the United States seem to think that spirituality is. They need feathers and pennies and T-shirts and, tie-dye this. And I need malachite, I need unakite, I need all these crystals. It has nothing to do with anything. The reason why you wear a crystal or your rings or whatever kind of crystals you have, it isn't the crystal itself that's giving you power. It is your belief that it has power. So you're empowering it. So you're actually transferring your energy as an extension of your energy, and it becomes a power of its own volition because you gave it life. You could do the same thing with a kitchen knife or a car tire. The object is irrelevant because everything is energy assumed that assumes a completely different form. You could take a painting on a wall and empower it to be your connection to God, and that is what it will be. Those crystals don't have any power, by the way, because you are comprised of the same energies that they are, because everything emanates from Source, and Source emanates all of creation, not just human beings. So in conclusion, there is no Catholic heaven here, and Jewish heaven there, and Muslim heaven over there, and Protestant heaven back there, and that's all garbage. It's all nonsense. It's just division, folks. It's more of the same mumbo-jumbo nonsense, yakety schmackety blah, blah, blah. That's really what it is. It sounds, all these lip service, like, what, I should listen to you? Oh, what did you say? Oh, you don't like him? Well, we got to get against him because wait, you want me to join you? It's all about division. You don't need that stuff. Unite with yourself and remain divided and away from that, because that stuff is just malevolent and it's going to pull you down. So, next time you go through a cemetery, if you happen to be driving near one, just look, you'll see. You'll see Catholic cemetery, the cross. And the Jewish cemetery, you won't see any flowers. You're just going to see stones on top of the markers, because that's their tradition, and that's the way they roll. So, but you won't ever see them blended together. And if you do, it'll be like some sort of area cordoned off. They won't allow the mixing of them because it's against their religion. But it just goes to show you, even in death, they're blind, because in life they were the same.